You have been scrolling through countless options, but your search for the perfect budget smartphone ends here. Because in this video, we'll be talking about the top 4 best smartphones under Rs 20,000. Choosing the perfect smartphone under Rs 20,000 can be a real headache. There are so many options out there, it's tough to decide which phone offers the best value without compromising on performance, camera quality, or battery life. So there are 4 phones on this list, and stay till the end to find out why I have given this phone the number 1 position. Anyways, let's start with number 4, the Realme 12 Plus 5G. This phone costs around Rs 18,000 for the 8GB RAM plus 256GB storage variant. Now, the Realme 12 Plus 5G delivers solid performance at this price range. It offers a capable processor, an immersive display, and cameras capable of capturing good quality photos. But there are some things that are missing with this phone, and that's exactly why this phone is on the 4th position. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the good things first. It has a vegan leather finish, which is soft to touch and does not get fingerprints or smudges. It has a 6.67-inch AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate and Full HD Plus resolution. But the only reason, the one big reason why you should consider buying this phone is the camera. This is like the only phone in this price range that gives you a Sony LYT 600 50 megapixel main sensor with optical image stabilization. It also has an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The main camera captures detailed photos and has a very good dynamic range. Pictures look good with strong HDR and bright colors, which work very well on social media. The skin tones look natural as well. However, the ultra wide and the macro cameras are pretty average, to be honest. Now let's talk about why this phone is on the 5th position. Well, the first reason is battery. Even though this phone has a large 5000 mAh battery and supports 67 watt SuperVOOC charging, the battery life is not that great. For example, if you play Call of Duty on this phone for 15 minutes, the battery levels drop by 6%. The second reason is processor. The processor on this phone is not that great. I'm not saying it's bad, but there are phones that have more powerful processors in this price range. Okay, so now let's talk about number 3, the Samsung Galaxy M35 5G. Does this phone solve the problems that we faced with the Realme 12 Plus 5G? We'll have to find out. First of all, let's talk about the battery. This phone has a 6000 mAh battery. For regular use, the battery can last up to 1.5 or even 2 days on a single charge. Even with heavy usage, including gaming and watching YouTube and Netflix, the battery will easily last for a day. This phone supports 25 watt charging, which is not that fast, especially when you compare it with other phones in this price range. But I think it's okay. So yes, I think the Samsung Galaxy M35 solves the first problem that you faced with the Realme 12 Plus. The second problem was the processor, and the Samsung Galaxy M35 comes with Exynos 1380 chipset, which gives you almost the same benchmark scores as the Dimensity 7050. The Antutu benchmark score for this phone is also very similar to the Realme 12 Plus. But something you should know about this phone is that it has a vapor cooling chamber, and this is a feature that most budget phones don't have. A vapor cooling chamber basically makes sure that your phone does not overheat. If you are a heavy gamer and play games like Call of Duty and BGMI for a long time, then this is a good thing for you. And because the phone does not overheat, there are less frame drops and a smoother gameplay. This phone is also quite heavy, and that's obviously because of the large battery size. The other features of this phone are more or less similar to the Realme 12 Plus, but this is still not the best you can get at this price range. There are still 2 phones that we haven't talked about. On number 2, we have the CMF Phone 1. Now look, the camera on the CMF Phone 1 is not as good as the Samsung Galaxy M35. The battery is also smaller than the Samsung Galaxy M35, and there is no charger in the box like you get with the Realme 12 Plus. But still, there are 2 big reasons why this phone is on number 2. First reason is the processor. The CMF Phone 1 has a MediaTek Dimensity 7300 processor, which is clearly better than the Exynos 1380. The CMF Phone 1 also has a higher Antutu benchmark score than the Samsung Galaxy M35. And the second reason is that the CMF Phone 1 is just different from the other phones on this list. There are so many cool things that you can do with this phone, like changing the back panel or using the accessories you get with this phone, like the lanyard, the card holder, or the stand. It also has a very industrial look with screws on the back. The color options are also eye catching, and the bezels are also really thin on all the sides. The software on this phone is, in my opinion, the best out of all the phones on this list. It has literally no bloatware at all. Okay, enough about the CMF Phone 1. But now it's time for the big reveal. The phone taking the number one spot is an absolute game changer. With its top notch performance, sleek design, and fantastic value, it's a clear winner. The number one smartphone on our list is the Poco X6 5G. This phone has a price tag of Rs 18,999 for the 8GB RAM plus 256GB storage variant. The reason why I have placed Poco X6 5G on first place is because it's an excellent all-rounder. This phone comes with a Snapdragon 7S Gen 3, which has almost the same benchmark scores as the Dimensity 7300 that you get with the CMF Phone 1. Gaming on this phone is really smooth, and you can play Call of Duty on high graphics settings and max frame rate. Although there is a little bit of lag when you play BGMI on high graphics settings. Basically, if you are a gamer and want to buy a budget smartphone, the Poco X6 5G is the best smartphone for gaming in this segment. But there are two areas where this phone really shines. First is the camera, and second is the display. This phone has a triple rear camera setup with a 64 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The main camera has optical image stabilization, which is good for low light photography. In daylight conditions, the colors are realistic, the dynamic range is good, and the noise is low. The 2x zoom gives you superb photos with great contrast, although I have to say that the colors are a bit more saturated than they should be. Portrait shots on this phone are kind of okay with decent blur and background separation. The ultra wide camera gives you good colors, but sometimes the images can be a bit overexposed. It has a 16 megapixel selfie camera, which is good enough for everyday use, but the images do lack detail. Overall, it's a solid camera setup for this price range. Talking about the display, this phone has a 6.67 inch 1.5K AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate. It comes with Corning Gorilla Glass Victus protection and a peak brightness of 1800 nits, which is very rare to see at this price range. The reason why I have put this phone on number 1 is because it gives you the best value for your money. So there you have it, the top 4 budget smartphones under Rs 20,000. Each of these phones offers something special, but the best phone for you really depends on what your preferences are. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.